Well, after the road race, the riders had something like a 3.5-hour break, and then they came out in their team formation. Now, this can be a little complex to understand, but if you realise that the time for the day is taken on the third rider of the team to cross the line, and that time goes to the individual classification, then you will know there was a real chance here for Placido Valdez and his team to outride the team of the race leader, Carlo Giev. Of course, the Koreans are always in the battle.
After the sumptuous lunch prepared by the officials of Mangatarentan in Pangasinan, it was back to business, Phil.
It was, and Malaysia, the fourth team to start, the riders departing the start house here at 1-minute intervals. The object, to record the fastest time for the course, and remember to watch out for that third man to finish, because that is the time on which the whole team result is based. Good signs here, except that Malaysia has settled in very quickly. They're working very tight formation. This is their best man overall, 18th place for Aziz Amanat. That despite a puncture early in the day in the road race stage. Hong Kong starting, they were led down to only 4 men now, which is really bad luck. 2 of their riders eliminated when they finished too far behind a few days ago. Their top rider, Wong Campo, is going to have to put out something special. They can only afford to lose 1 man. Back to Malaysia. Early time check saying Malaysia are setting the best marker out on the course. So they are setting the target for the rest of the teams to beat. Still to come, all of the top teams, they get a later start. The teams starting in the reverse order of their individual status in the general classification.
Do teams practice this, Phil?
Yes, they do. And in fact, a team that knows their teammates very well always do a good job. Because they must know the movements of each of the riders. The Philippines national team, lying second overall in the international team standing competition, they still very much a challenger too for the individual final trophy here in the Marlborough Tour. They want to prove it with a good ride today. Central Luzon further up the road.
And this is the team of Loreto Mandi, Noli del Rosario.
And already 1 rider has disappeared from this group, so they're down to 5. A sharp left-hand bend here. And there's the other rider. He's had a problem, and he's been detached from the team. Now, he won't be allowed to stay behind the car for long. If a referee sees him, he will be pulled out. He's not allowed to do that.
Anyway, so you want your team to be compact side, going as 1 unit?
Going as 1 unit. You have to remember the team is only as strong as the third rider in the race. It's no good being a real strong man and going off down the road by yourself, because the clock won't stop until the third man comes across the line. So they must stay together as long as possible. And it's a good piece of team riding. A little bit ragged as they go down the outside there by the Philippines. Other than that, they're doing okay at the moment. Here's the men setting the target, and there's John Hardacre, who looks after them, shouting a few words of wisdom. He's probably telling them they're going very, very well indeed. Of course, they've got the mighty Koreans behind them, and they've yet to start, so we don't know whether this is setting up Sinan at the start line. Very much the local team, and would look to do well, Seb.
Absolutely. Pangasinan, as we mentioned, the birthplace of stage racing in this country almost 4 decades ago.
Now, down to the left-hander here, and this is Visayas coming around.
And of course, this is the team of Rolando Pagnanaon, a former champion of this Marlborough Tour.
Sharp end now. You see the moto, the Master's motorbike here. He's not actually making a mistake. There has been a report that is a diesel slick on the road there, and he was trying to get the riders to go round him. He succeeded. Now back to the start. This is Korea. All eyes on Korea, of course. They've been riding so well. Everybody says they start the favourites today because they look so strong. And let's see how quickly they're into their slipstream. They're away. Let's go to Hong Kong. They've still got the 4 men together, which is a bonus at this stage of the race. This is the tricky left-hander as they go around. Oh, and the middle rider has gone down.
That's Nang Kwok Hua, number 103.
Oh, that's incredibly bad luck, because they're down to 3 riders now. They're riding away. They look a little bit hesitant up the road, but they are on the radio microphone back to the Hong Kong team car, and I'm sure the instruction will be go without him. They've no choice really, because they've got 3 men left. Let's go to the Philippines national team. Still all 6 men here, and riding pretty coolly. Arnel Keremit, the youngster, coming through. But they don't look to me as though they're putting a lot of effort into it. You know, the faces aren't showing the pain they should show at this stage. This is 100% total commitment to team time trial, because you need every second gain. They look a little bit too cool and not putting the effort for me. There's Kwok Hua Nong, and it looks to me as though he's turned round and he's going back towards the start. He has to finish the stage step, otherwise he will be eliminated.
He really looks a bit shaken, not just a bit, but really shaken.
Philippines now, same bend for the Philippines. Watch Yeah, this is it. They're taking it very, very carefully. The message has been passed down about that corner.
Be careful ahead.
I don't blame them for that. To lose 2 seconds there might be the wise move. Now here's Southern Luzon. They're lying 4th overall in the regional team race.
And of course, this is the squad of Renato Dolosa and Gerardo Igos as well.
Dolosa up to 4th overall. He has been the leader of this race. He wears 31 in that pack. Now here's the arrival of Pangasinan. And they haven't gone round the corner at all. It looks to me, Seb, as though they're going off the rim.
Yes, look at the people telling them they must have made a mistake.
Well, they should have known because they're the team from the region. They've gone completely the wrong way. They're going to lose time. They've got to be brought back. And they've got Korea starting a minute behind them. That's bad luck.
Now, meantime, you have here the team of Placido Valdez.
Yes, Nueve Shia. This is the team with the pressure on them because they know with a good performance here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a winning ride, they could give their man the leader's yellow jersey.
Excellent performances by Neil Barlett's Team Pinil as we pick up the action with the Malaysians.
Still best time at all of the checks so far. They are setting the time to be. The race is around about 42 kilometres. The route slightly amended before the start today, so we should expect times quite a way inside the hour for the distance.
By the way, as we take a look at northern Luzon, we are headed towards Dagupan City, a city that is celebrating its 50th of its charter. And we are off.
And there's the yellow jersey, Carlo Gieb, who's led for the last 3 stages of the race, and now he knows he has a real fight on his hands. Here come the Koreans, they're underway, and they have Pangasinan in their sights. We'll be back.
This team time trial all the way from Mangataran all the way to Dagupan City will cover a distance of 42.6 kilometers.
And it looks as though Renato Dolosa's team here, Southern Luzon, are not riding well. The look of concern on Colin Lewis's face, in contrast to Korea here. Although having said that, they're not really united here. Oh, they're waiting for the right-hand bend to slow down here to take this tricky right-hander, and rightly so, taking it with caution. Early time checks show them to be quicker than Malaysia, and Malaysia have headed up towards the finish, still setting the best markers along the route. Now this is all part of the changed route today because the bridge was down, and this is a very narrow but perfect for team time trialing, Seb, and they're always changing direction. Now let's go and have a look at the first glimpse of the yellow jersey team. Here's Carlo Gieb here, trying to get his team organised. There shouldn't be those big gaps between the front and the back wheel. They must ride in a much tighter formation, and the second man behind must be ready to push through and get that team on the road. They don't look too good to me. Pangasinan, the local team, they've been off course, they're a little bit demoralised. We know the Korean team are catching up. There they are, the far distance. You can see now the Koreans are within about 20 seconds of taking a minute out of that team.
In the meantime, the Philippine squad, more of a scattered column here.
Well, all 6 are still together, and they're trying to keep team formation, but the time checks are not good at all at the moment. They're running away from the top 4 teams on the leaderboard, so they will not be too happy with that. And of course, to their top names on this squad, like Espiritu, they want a good time today.
Do you change flights for a team time trial, individual time trial, or a match
Some
time?
do, Seb, some do, but here we are seeing the arrival of Malaysia, and Malaysia has the best time so far, 55 minutes 15.57, and that is best over the 57.40 of Metro Manila, who finished just in front of them. Now, going back here to the Southern Luzon team, not a great performance here, and number 31 of Renato Dolosa could find he might slip a little bit if this speed continues in tonight's overall classification. But the good news, they still have the 6 men all together.
Race started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon from Mangataran.
You see there's gaps here. They're not, the second man is not driving through, and they should be pushing that team on and giving it a lot of effort. And the concentration here, the well-drilled team of Korea, going a long thin line because each of the team members is doing a big turn at the front before he swings off and then lets through the second rider. Sitting at the back at the moment, Yi-Sung Wang, who won this morning's stage and has had 4 stage wins so far, the Nueva Chia team, because they have, of course, as their leader, Placido Valdez, is the rider in the blue jersey, driving through at the front. This team looks very slick indeed today, and their early time checks are showing them in the top 4 on the leaderboard. And in fact, that will mean that Placido Valdez, who's in the blue jersey, is now in the yellow jersey, but he must watch out for the proximity of the Korean team, because if they get a lot of time and beat this team, then Hyundai Hong will be the leader by the end of the stage. This is boiling up into a grand finale, and Valdez probably knows it.
In the meantime, Northern Luzon on your screens. This is the team of Carlo Giep.
And he's having to do all of the work, you see. Big turns himself, the yellow jersey, the race leader, having to pull his team along here. I think the team has one or two tired riders on it. I think the coach Mikai has expected this kind of result in the team time trial today. They've worked very well to keep this yellow jersey on the squad for the last couple of days, and they might in fact be rather delighted they've lost the pressure, because certainly now bridge the gap of 1 minute. They are setting the best time at every time check along the road. The Koreans now are racing without doubt to the stage victory, and if they get their way, they'll be racing into the yellow jersey as well for number 133 Hyundai Hong. But then Nueva Ecija might have a chance of doing that. Now the pass by.
Oh, look at the race column. Look at the Koreans.
Much quicker, much better disciplined.
How should this Pangasinan team be feeling right now? A bit depressed, I
Well, they
suppose.
feel depressed, and in fact, what they've got to do automatically when you're passed by the team behind is drop back. You can't try and keep up with them. Now, let's go to the man who, at the moment, is in the leader's yellow jersey on the road, and there he is, Valdez. He has his team well organised and well disciplined. They are driving here. Just take a look at the faces. Our camera goes down the line. This is the team totally committed to get their man into that leader's yellow jersey. Number 43 is Dean Pinnerley. He's done very well. As we go to the finish now for the arrival of Hong Kong, the three musketeers from Hong Kong,
yes.
They lost their man.
Yes.
And look at a great ride by them, 55-40. They are second at the moment behind Malaysia. Had they not lost that fourth man, they might have been first fastest at that point. Yellow jersey out on the road, and again in disarray. He's trying to take a little rest here, Giep, but his other teammates, I think, are very tired, and they can't give him the break he wants.
One wonders really how much was taken out of them during the course of the first stage earlier today.
Well, that may be the case. You see, now this is when you must think as well as use your legs and save energy when you can.
In essence, still, it's still a team competition, despite the fact that we do have individual awards.
Yes, and it highlights, you see, also, Steph, just now how weak the leaders are if the team is weak. In the case of Gieb, he hasn't got the support and he can't go any faster than the third man. Now look at Valdez, a strong team around him. He's finding he can save his strength in the slipstream, and then he comes through with a big rush here to drive the race on. He is so confident now that the yellow jersey awaits him. Remember, he's never won this event, but he's been placed so many times. Now he could taste yellow. His one big worry are the Koreans. They're setting the best time so far. They could also take yellow. We'll be back. And the yellow jersey must surely now be going the way of Placido Valdez, because his team is not conceding that much to the Koreans out on the road, but they are gaining big time over the team of Carlo Giep. There's Valdez continuing to work with his team, or perhaps we should say his team continuing to work with him. Korea are the clear leaders on the road now. Malaysia are in at the finish with the best time of 55 minutes and 15 seconds. The Koreans are running about 1 minute 3/4 quicker. And they haven't lost a man, they haven't missed a beat. But it's a sad story for Northern Luzon, the team that has led this race for a couple of days with this man in yellow, Carlo Giep. As try as he might, his team is losing time, and I think they're in the bottom half of the field as far as this team time trial goes. And this is Roger Sheridan, the team manager of Nueva Ecija, and there's no doubt now he's going to have the responsibility of the race leader on his team by the end of this time trial.
Phil, a lot of people have been asking me if the Koreans are so hot, why aren't they wearing the yellow jersey as often as possible?
Well, as we look at Carlo Giep here, the deposed race leader now, the reason is quite simply said, they've made the moves, but they haven't gained the required time. This race is all about time, and that's why Placido Valdez here is working so hard. He's dropped one of the riders from his team now, but he's making the others work. As we've made a big point of, it only needs 3 men to finish together to get the time for that team. Obviously, Valdez must be one of them. He's working very hard here now to search for those few seconds he needs overall to get that leader's yellow jersey. He only has to finish more than 33 seconds ahead of Carlo Giep, and he's a lot further ahead than that. but he's got to watch out here with the Koreans, because the Korean team are leading on the road, and if they get too much time, then their man will be the race leader. This is a very good team time trial today. There's no doubt the Koreans are going to win the team time trial, but they may not pick up enough time to take over the leader's yellow jersey. Dennis Villasenor also gone now from the team of Placido Valdez. He really has turned the screw. There's 4 of them left. Only 3 need survive to count for the time. They are coming very close to the finish. I repeat, Malaysia are in with the best time so far, 55 minutes and 15 seconds, but the Koreans and Nuria are still to finish. 4 kilometers to go for Korea. And still they have 6 men here doing what we call bit and bit. The man goes through, sets the pace for 200 meters, then he comes off and the fresh rider goes through. There's only 4 left to do that here now, so a lot of work falling on the shoulders of Valdez. He is the one riding the special low-profile bicycle, the time trial bicycle. Clearly he came here very determined today to take over the race lead. What's the flick of the right arm? That calls through the teammate. The teammate comes through and takes up the pace as Valdez drops behind. Oh my goodness me, look at the face here now of the yellow jersey. He's done all he can do, Guillaume, but his riders at the moment are just too tired to help him.
Somehow we can feel that yellow jersey just peeling off his back at the moment.
And the Koreans, they're going past one of the Philippines riders there, who has been dropped by his team, and that's Enrique Domingo. So he's been left behind, but they still have 5 riders up front. And just look at Valdez now, taking the bull by the horns to bring this team home. There's still 4 of them, and they're all willing to work very hard indeed. This has been a very, very good ride by this team. They knew there was a chance. Now down to the finishing line, the arrival of the Philippines national team, and they're down to 4 now. Only 4 of them coming in. 55-43. They finished 3rd best at the moment, and there are still 3 teams to finish. And here is one of them, the Koreans, approaching 1 kilometre to go for the 42 kilometres. But here's the inspired squad of Nuria, because they're now picking up the team of Renny Deloso, that of Southern Luzon. So they've caught them for a minute, and it looks as though Deloso is losing a little bit of time in the overall today. But not Valdez. Valdez is heading for yellow now as he brings his team towards the finish. The Koreans will be next across the line, and we should see quite a spectacular time from then. The clock will stop on the 3rd man to cross the line. Now, a good team will try to push all its men together as they go over that line, and I think the Koreans are doing just that. The clock will stop on the 3rd wheel, and it's 53 minutes and 20 seconds, the best time, and that will not be beaten today. So the Koreans are home. Now the clock will start to count down, because it will depend on the time gaps. As we watch here, Nuria come home at a kilometre. The time gaps will decide whether Valdez has got the leader's yellow jersey. There is Valdez in the blue. There are still 4 riders left in this team. Only 3 are required to count. It still looks to me as though they've got plenty of firepower in those legs. Further back down the road, we've got the yellow jersey of Carlo Guillem. And he too now is grappling a bit to grab the wheels in front. I think even the yellow jersey is tired now. There are 3 riders left here now, it looks to me, in Nuria. Now, good time trial formations often do shed the riders in the last kilometre. They've done their job well. They've given 100%, remember, and then they leave just 3 men. Oh, there are 4. 4 men will come to the line. There's the finish up the road. Now let's see what time they've done. They're around about 2 minutes down on Korea. That's confirmed. 55 minutes, 22 seconds for Nuria, and that will certainly give Valdez the yellow jersey, and they know it. So a new yellow jersey today. There he is, the Placido Valdez, ridden his heart out, but the victory and the reward is waiting for him. Here comes the team of the deposed yellow jersey, and they are last to finish, 57-22, and only 9th place to them for Northern Luzon. They have felt the full pressure today. There's the result confirmed. Korea win the team time trial ahead of Malaysia. Now they're in 12th. Northern Luzon were 9th.
And once again, Koreans are at the victory stand.
And this is their 7th stage victory of the tour so far, and they've proved it now. They are a great team. But the yellow jersey stays with the Philippines and stays with the regions of the Philippines. Reba Estea have the leader now. His name is Placido Valdez. He leads by a minute and 27 seconds ahead of the man that loses the lead now, Carlo Gieb. Hyundai Hong stays in 3rd place. Further down the list, the Indonesian's best rider, Tonton Susanto, while Victor Espiritu is 10th. In the international team race, Korea have opened the gap now, 18 minutes ahead of the Philippines, and Malaysia are 3rd.
And meanwhile, in the regional competition, we find the home team of Pangasinan in front, Nueva Ecija in 2nd, Visayas hangs on to 3rd. At the end of the two-part 7 stage, Placido